Welcome back, Nation members, for some more Child of Light. I'm the Midman, playing through the game as I always tend to do, and today is kind of a special episode, let me say, because I lost the original recording. We're back at the Capelli town. I think we're here to trade an apple, or maybe we just traded an apple. I can't remember. I lost all my live commentary audio footage because my microphone jacked up. It's a USB mic. I used the Blue Yeti, and it somehow came partially unplugged, or became partially unplugged. Anyway, so it stopped recording the voiceover at all. So I was sitting there talking to myself for no reason, which is making me sound crazier and crazier. What the hell? This is the first time you see the archer guys. They are an enemy. They're really not, these archers aren't that bad. There are stone things that you'll run into a little later that are a little bit worse. But, so I thought today would be a little bit, I feel like I've played enough of the game that I could give you guys an honest review of my feelings about it. I mean, I'm sure you'll hear it throughout all the videos. I love the music. I love the art. But that necessarily doesn't make a game. So I'm going to try to present all the reasons that I believe that this game is awesome, and at the same time I'm going to see if I can point out any of the negatives that I have seen while we're going through this. So let me start off with saying that I did a lot of research on this game because I thought it looked interesting just from the get-go, with the cell shading, the painted art. Everything about this game looked interesting to me, and then when I found out it was an RPG, I was like, oh, I gotta do it. I totally gotta take that on. So the character design is very simple, and I think some people might have a problem with that, but it's just the whole world. If you look at just the backdrop, let's not even put the characters into frame on this particular battle. If you just look at the backdrop here, the trees are actually swaying in the background. I mean, this game was clearly a labor of love. The guys that made this, Spiders, they did a fantastic job. I can't slight this game at all in that respect, in the art design respect. The biggest... The story is supposed to be the way that it is. I don't know how else to say that. One of the biggest complaints I see leveled at this game, for people who do not like it, is the story is so predictable. The story is exactly, one thing or another, or the story is, we all knew what was going to happen in the story before it even took us to the end. And I was sitting there thinking about that, going, yeah, well, in a normal RPG, that might be a problem. But for this one, my question to you would be, is that really a problem? You're talking about a game that is clearly intended to deliver a modern fairy tale experience. And fairy tales are all predictable. All of them. Like, every one I've ever read is predictable. And it's supposed to be that way. It's absolutely supposed to be that way. And I don't know that I would have it any other way, honestly. But I just found that extremely interesting. Oh, this is a cool area here. You don't even know, but this is a cool area. This is Magna. Even though you don't find that out till later, you will see that this is Magna. He is a giant stone guy. You remember that thing wandering around in the front? Yeah, this is him. This is a part of him, anyway. Anyway, back to my original. Every fairy tale that I've ever read is fairly predictable. Hansel and Gretel, the kids are going to escape. Even though I think in the original they might not have. Some of the older Grimm's fairy tales might not be that way. But honestly, I'm going to say that a lot of them are. Because, well, it's Little Red Riding Hood. We knew the wolf was going to get it in the end. Just some interesting stuff to keep in mind there. This is supposed to be sort of a modern fairy tale, and well, it's not. I guess I wouldn't even say that it's a modern fairy tale. This is. Oh, I gotta get that. Give me the confession. This is supposed to be a take on fairy tales, and fairy tales are very predictable in their stories, pretty much all the time. So to level that complaint against a game that was designed to be that way, that's not a failing. They intended the game to be this way. And they kind of, I mean, I kind of felt like they made that clear in the description of the game, but maybe not. You know, maybe not. Some of the other things that have been leveled against this game, that being the biggest. It's a stereotypical fairy tale fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Somebody, I read somewhere, and I think it was on Metacritic. I hate that damn website anyway, because I don't think that, I don't know what the hell the human being's need is to attach a number to something. Oh, you're a 7 out of 10. I mean, that's setting somebody up for disappointment no matter which way you go. I mean, because I don't know that you're ever a 10. You know? Do you ever get to that point? But anyway, the battle system in the game, there have been a couple of complaints leveled against the battle system as well. And I, for one, found the battle system to be pretty interesting. I like the idea of Igniculus and being able to slow enemies down. There's no spell that you need to cast to slow their speed, although you do have one at your disposal. You can do that. But there's no spell you need to cast or anything like that. You just slow them down with Igniculus. Like that. You light them up, and they will slow down. I was trying to figure out what the hell that cat was, because it was weird that it popped up and then, as you can see there, just fucking disappeared. I thought it might be an enemy, and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to get into a brawl. Turns out we didn't. Turns out we didn't. So, anyway. There's a couple of things in the battle system that I really enjoy. The addition of Igniculus, who allows you to slow things down, and he's kind of a core member of your party. That's pretty cool. Also, they do a very good job of... I don't know that I like all the rhyming talking that happens in this game. But then again, I look at it from the perspective of it's a fairy tale adventure, and in all your fairy tales, that kind of speech is pretty damn common. So again, that's not a failing on the game. I may not like it personally, but to give you an honest review of the game, if the game was built and designed to be that way, can you hold that against the developer? Well, no. This game, in this case, I don't think you can, because they did not design the game. I mean, they designed the game for people to play, but I think they designed it for folks who want a classic fairy tale / RPG adventure. And for anybody who digs either of those two things, you're gonna love this game. Pick it up, play it right now. Just go do it. You will not be disappointed. However, if you're looking for like a brand new, amazing, it's got some cool battle mechanic that's never been seen before. Even though I do think that it has a battle mechanic that has never really been used fully, which is, again, I go back to Igniculus, where you can actually slow down the enemy just by using a party member that's always there with you. Igniculus also collects health. He opens chests. I mean, he's like a tool. I don't want to say he's a tool, but he's like a tool that you will use throughout the entire game. Love coffee. All right, so back to it. All the reviews, most of the reviews for this game are positive. And I tend to agree with some of the reviews that are positive also. If the art is fantastic. If we have to put numbers on shit, I would give the art in this game a 9 or a 10 easy. If we had to give a number score to the story, knowing what I know, or let me say, thinking the way that I do as far as the fairy tale concept goes, I would still give it a 9 out of 10. You know why? Because this fits a fairy tale perfectly. It is a fairy tale adventure, and that's what it's supposed to be. That is totally what it's supposed to be, so I don't understand why people would level the complaint of a story issues against, I don't know, maybe that's just me. You guys leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think on the subject. Next thing that we're going to move on to is your enemies and your friends don't have a lot of attacks. If I was gonna level one complaint against the system, I feel like it gives you enough attacks for as long as the game is. But I would have liked maybe a few more animations for how the attacks went, because the animation is the same no matter what you do. It's just, well, some of them are. In later stages, I think you get characters who have different animations. But you only have one animation per attack, and I think you only get a couple, 1, 2, maybe 3 attacks per character. Now, is that really necessarily a bad thing in a game like this? I think if you're going to attach the word RPG to it, you kind of have to have a lot more movesets. Like, I don't know that coming up with 2 more animations per character for the attacks would have been such a big deal, but I know that I would have enjoyed the game a lot more if I'd always been looking for that next attack, or, you know, if out of 3 attacks I found one to be extremely cool and I was like, oh, there's a move, it's right there. And I'm just, I guess, dumb that way, but it is an RPG for $15. The other complaint leveled against the game that I've seen, the popular one, I guess this is the second most popular. The first most popular is that it's predictable. And the story is just, it's nothing nobody's ever seen before. The second is going to be the shortness of the game. Now let me go ahead and say that you paid $15 for this game. You paid $15. And even if it's 10 to 12 hours, which I don't know I haven't finished it yet when this video was made. So I'm already 6 or 7 hours in, I want to say. Anyway, it may be 10 to 12 hours, but if it's 15 hours long, I paid $15 for this game. That's $1 an hour, and I pay more than that when I go to the movies. A shit ton more than that. If I want to spend time with my wife and go out and eat somewhere, I spend way more than that. So for me to get enjoyment out of this game at $1 an hour, that is fantastic. And there needs to be more developers like that. Games like these are sorely missing. It seems like when everybody looks at the term RPG, they look at the length of the game. If it's not 30 to 40 hours, then it's not really an RPG. It's an action-adventure game. Well, no, that's not true at all. You know what I would really like to see Child of Light do? I would really love to see Spiders branch out and do a whole fairy tale universe. Let's go back to the Grimm's fairy tales. You've already created one on your own. You can even do, you can do spin-offs of any of the fairy tales that exist in the world. And it doesn't just have to be Grimm's. I don't want to limit it to that at all. But you can do spin-offs of any of the fairy tales, all within this world of Lemuria. They have already crafted it. There are huge swaths of the map where we have not seen. And it gives you a couple locations, but you could expand on that. Lemuria is just one small section of this world. You could do this like an episodic adventure RPG. And I'm going to be honest, I'd pay $15 for every installment you gave me, Spiders. I'd do it. Just something to think about if you want to make money off me, and probably a lot of other folks. Leave a comment down below for those guys if you're of a similar mind. If you are of a similar mind. Well, hell, leave me a comment down below if you're not of a similar mind. I mean, we can talk. We can talk. We can argue. We can discuss our differences if you would like. But anyway, second biggest complaint leveled against the game is that it's too short. I was like, it's $15. How much insane development did you actually expect to go in for being able to purchase the game for $15? I would have expected a shorter game, and I think I already mentioned that in several of the videos. I did not know how long the game was, but the more I kept playing, the more I realized this game's actually a fairly decent length. And I've enjoyed it. I don't think this is going to be one of those games, and this is another thing, in RPGs, when you start talking about the time played and how long it takes to do X, Y, or Z. My problem with that is that many RPGs are based around the idea of grinding. Final Fantasy XIV, I love that game, love the graphics, don't get me wrong, but that game it just screams, grind me, please. That sounds dirty. Anyway, that's what it does. You end up grinding your life away in an RPG, and if that's what you want, that's great. Monster Hunter. RPG, grinding. Even though I think some might call that an action-adventure. grinding all day long. You're just grinding to get to the next level to do other things. Dark Souls could even be considered a grinding game, but Dark Souls actually has a purpose for your grinding. So that's it. That was kind of built into the game. I love Dark Souls. I don't care. You never get me to say anything different about Dark Souls series. And God, I hope the rumors of Project Beast being Demon Souls 2 and Miyazaki coming back are true. I would crap myself. I might film it. I would film myself crapping myself, maybe. I'm not really going to do that. Don't even ask me to put that video up, because I wouldn't actually do that. It's an expression. It's totally an expression. But anyway, there's just so much. Look at the background here. There's so much to this game, and I'm surprised it went on as long as it did. I have bought some $15 games from Xbox Arcade, from Steam. I mean, when I get a game that cheap, I really don't expect anything. And for me to get anything at all, even remotely, like this game here, I am impressed. I do not feel like this game is too short. I already feel like I've gotten my money out of it, and I'm not even done yet. Like I said, I think I'm 7 to 8 hours into the game. I think that chick right there is not our friend. I really don't think that chick is our friend. Like, it's weird for another one of your family to show up here. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I hope that's true. I really don't think she's our buddy. I think it's something by Queen Umbra to trick us. It's probably a monster or some shit, like a changeling. All right. Anyway, back to the review portion. So, is the game worth picking up? Yes, absolutely it is. That's my opinion, and if you don't like my opinion, that's fine. You may feel free to disagree with me, but let me tell you something. Based on my entire I grew up with Final Fantasy III. And it kind of started from there, my addiction to RPGs. So I'm fully well aware of exactly what a good RPG is. At least to me, by my standards. And everybody may have a different standard. But I am full well aware of what a good RPG is to me. And let me tell you something. This one is good. It's got the art style. It's got the fresh mechanic. And anybody who says that Igniculus is not something new, I've just never seen anything really like him used as well as they've done it here. I just haven't. So I can't say that that's true. I cannot say that that's true. Just interesting to me that people level these complaints against it. So anyway, for the game being short, it is 10 to 12 hours, probably. I mean, for $15 of development, to be charged for it, I would say that that's perfectly reasonable. I don't know. Let's see here. What is another complaint? You know what? That's honestly, those are the negative complaints. And I just wanted to address those first because I don't feel like they're accurate at all. I really don't. Let's move on to what is really good about this game. We don't have, as a society, we do not have a basis for really good modern or new fairy tales. And for somebody to go out and design this story, which, yes, it's based on all your typical fairy tales, but at the same time, for somebody to go out and design this, and if your kids were to play this, they would be enchanted by it. It's easy to play, too, so it's not like they couldn't. But it would give your kids a basis of a fairy tale universe and what a fairy tale is really supposed to be like, which is awesome. I remember my mom reading like way back in the day, way back in the day, reading me fairy tales, and my kids always asked me to read them a story before they go to bed, or at least when they were little they did. So to have something like this is really a benefit to me. I mean, it's not a small one. It is a huge benefit to me, and I have enjoyed the game. I can't really say anything more about it. I think you should consider that. Do you want your kids growing up in a world without fairy tales or without anything fun ever, or do you want them to grow up with dreams and crazy talk of dragons and fairy kings and fairy queens or umbral witches or whatever? I mean, most people might look at that statement and go, oh my god, you are fucking nuts. But you know what? That imagination is not a bad thing for a kid to have. An overactive imagination? Well, maybe. But when was the last time your kid had an overactive imagination, huh? When? I just don't feel like the criticisms leveled against this game that were negative even fit with the actual game itself. But the positives, everybody says that the art style is fantastic. And you can see, hopefully, just from me playing the game right here in front of you, that is absolutely 100% true. I don't think anybody could argue that. The game is gorgeous. And the graphics aren't super high-end, super HD, or any crazy crap like that. It is just a good game. But as far as the story or the art style goes, there are some places where I feel like, how do I say this? So, like right here, I really like the backgrounds. I like the character design. I like the character busts that they have for whichever character you're doing this for. But I really feel like these trees could have been fleshed out a little bit better. And I don't understand what the deal is with all the pastel blues and whites all the time. I don't know that I like that going on all the time. And this game definitely can be a color overload at times. I don't think I've ever really had a problem with it. It's never given me a headache or anything like that. I don't even know if that would happen to you. But I have definitely never... It's like right there. If I wasn't just focused on the background looking at that, that might kind of bleed together for me the further that it got away. And I don't think you should do that with a game with the art style is, I don't want to say unique, but so good, I wouldn't want to do that. But this game, the art overall, like I said, it's 9 out of 10. You just can't. It's not even a competition, man. It's the best looking game that I've seen in a very long time. Next to not being next gen. I mean, I'm playing this on PS3. And I'm sure on PS4 it doesn't look much different, but still. It's got some... One minor complaint about the art is what I have. And that is, I don't know about the overuse of the whites and the pastel blues, because that just makes it really, really, really bright at times. Next on the list is the battle system. I feel like the battle system is unique. It's a huge benefit to the game. It's not so overcomplicated like Final Fantasy VIII, where you're trying to use the gun blade and pull the trigger. Although that was a fun feature, not everybody could do that. And I mean, I didn't have many problems with it. Occasionally I would miss one, which I think is what the game designed it to do. But I didn't find that an enjoyable piece. For the Final Fantasy VIII, I love the story. I still today believe that is the best story of the Final Fantasy series ever. And we can discuss that too. I know a lot of people like 9, and then you'll have the 7ers coming out here soon. I know they're going to come scream at me. What are you talking about? Final Fantasy VII was freaking amazing. I know, guys. Believe me. I liked all of them. But Final Fantasy VIII, me personally, that has been my favorite story out of all of them. I just found that one to be impressive. So anyway, the battle system, I find it to be unique. I like the idea of being able to slow my enemies down and not have to use a spell to do it. You can use a spell to slow them down even further. I like the counter system idea, where when the enemies get within attack zone where they're getting geared up for attack, you can interrupt that. I hate it when it happens to me, but you know, I guess I'm supposed to hate it when it happens to me, right? That's just the way it is. But the battle system, it does have enough skills to keep you interested. You're constantly leveling up in the game, so you never really feel like you're getting bored of doing something, that's a good thing. I leveled up, like every battle or two, character levels up, so I can go in and check skills and jack with my oculi. You have equipment augmentation stuff, which is on a very, very basic level. It doesn't do a very detailed job of the oculi combinations and all that, but at the same time, was it ever supposed to? Again, the game's $15. It's being given to people for $15, and that is awfully, awfully, awfully cheap, in my opinion. Awfully cheap. And I still feel like that's a really, really good deal. No matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice it. That's a good deal. Now, next thing that we want to talk about is this was made by Ubisoft Art, I want to say. So for a big publisher to produce a game like this, you might go, well, that seems like that would be normal for Ubisoft. But no, if you look at Ubisoft's history, I feel like this game is a pretty decent ways from what they used to do normally. I feel like this is a far cry, and it looks like they're branching out into other areas with this. So I'm really, really happy about that. I'm really happy about that, actually. I'm impressed. I hope they keep it up. Ubisoft, whoever this team is with spiders, you need to keep them around. I'm not even going to lie to you. You need to keep these people around. All right. Next thing I want to talk about as far as this is, I guess, the division line between core gamers and casual gamers. Is this game for a hardcore gamer? Like, after playing something like Dark Souls, do I enjoy playing this game? Well, yes, I do, because I'm not just a hardcore gamer. I much rather prefer the stories and the lore of a world. And seeing a new fantasy fairy tale on the screen is awesome. Like, if this had been put in a book, I would have read it. If you had put this in a book with the same kind of art style, with them chit-chatting and talking throughout it, I would have read the fairy tale. I probably would have read it to my kids. The choices that you make in the game, there are some choices that you make. I don't feel like they affect the outcome no matter which way you go. Like, there is no light and dark system. There's a couple things that you can download to get different colored dresses, but they do not affect your power or anything like that. So that doesn't even happen. You don't have to worry about that. I find it interesting that, again, people level complaints that that's not complex enough to be considered an RPG, when that is a ridiculous farce. We have tons of crappy games out there that don't have any level of depth to them, and we call them great games. I mean, the only thing, they had sprites for everything in Final Fantasy games, for items that you picked up and whatever. That's, if you look at it, it's no more than what this game has. It may call them different metal types, but they were all metal types to build different weapons. I don't know, to me it's kind of the same thing. I never had a huge deal with anything in this game. I thought it gave me enough items, I thought it gave me enough powers, enough spells, that it was cool. I absolutely feel like the skill system and the battle system are unique enough to be playing. I feel definitely that the game is worth buying. And no matter what you tell me, I'm probably never going to see anything any different. You guys let me know, though. I mean, do you enjoy the fairy tale aspect of the game, or is there anything that, if you're watching this game, what are your thoughts on the game up to this point? I'm curious. If you're not watching the game and you've played the game, tell me what your thoughts were regardless, because I'm curious to know what other people think about this game. I think it's getting a bad rap for a lot of stuff that it shouldn't be, because I feel like, honestly, it's a very, very good game. I love the world, I love the characters so far, and I haven't even met them all. I think the party that it gives you, Like I've got a golem, and I had to download the Golem's Plight to get that, but I wanted to get as much story out of it as I could. I had to download the Golem's Plight. I've got my sister. I've got... I mean, there's so many. I've got the Tumbler from the circus, Rubella. There's enough party members in here that I would say you've got some variety. Now, whether or not you actually played with that variety or did anything with any of the other characters, that's your choice. But that doesn't mean the game doesn't have it. That means that you did not utilize it or leverage it. And I don't know that I just feel like that was an invalid, to me, that was another negative. That doesn't come up very often in any of the reviews. But I feel like the battle system here, you can see that I've got 4 different trees. I could flee, I could use a potion, or I could act. And your acts usually consist of, you've got 5 different actions that each character can perform. That keeps it simple enough that anybody could get into the game, but it keeps it complex enough that those of us who are core gamers should get, I don't know, some experience out of it. Like take away something positive from it, but it looks like all the core gamers were just bitching about how the game wasn't long enough and wasn't it didn't have enough complexity to it. That made no sense to me. No sense whatsoever. Overall, the game is definitely worth a buy. You should support developers who are willing to do this. Developers who are willing to go out of their way and do what you guys have seen on screen and part of this playthrough are rare. People who aren't just producing crap for money, they're actually producing something because they love it and they want it to be good, is a rarity in my opinion. And for people to down on this game, I don't think it's deserved at all. I love this game, and I think it has done a fantastic job in general. So, I guess those are my positives. Now, of course, I need you guys' input. I need your input. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think, because I could change my opinion, but honestly, I have liked the game so much. I mean, look at the art style. Look at that. I like it. Garden dwarf. What's a garden dwarf? Must be a door open to a garden. Orf. Plus the dialogue, the rhyming dialogue. Now maybe you don't get what's happening there, but now that is one thing that could be improved. The dialogue between the characters. I don't think all of that needs to rhyme, and the fact that it does is kind of if you're not used to that, it will throw you off. But at the same time, what they're doing there is building a relationship between all the characters and letting you know kind of what they're about. Like clearly the dwarf is not experienced in the world, and if you haven't watched any other videos, you could probably tell that from his speech of what's a garden dwarf, because what she's talking about is like lawn gnomes, and he didn't even know what those are. So I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what his character is like. So, and if you watch any of these, they try. They don't do a fantastic job of it. They don't do a bad job of it, but they don't do a fantastic job of getting you invested in any of the characters except Aurora. Now, maybe that will change later. Remember, I haven't completed the game when I'm making this video, and that definitely may change. I may change my whole opinion about that. But, as of right now, I don't think I'm going to. I find it a fantastic and enjoyable game to play. So, and my opinion is biased. Absolutely it is. So, you don't have to take my word for it. But if you watch our channel and you like RPGs, you should invest in this game, because if you're of a like mind, similar to myself, then you will find this game enjoyable. That is the last words that I have to say for it. So I'm going to let you guys see this battle and let it play out the way that it's going to. And I am going to cut it off here and say that I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. If you like this review, or if you would like to see more reviews or something, let me know. Leave me a comment or a like down below if you want to. It's not required. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free to do that as well, because you can keep up with everything that we're playing. And until next time I see you, I'm the Midman. I'm going to let you finish out this little combat here, and then I believe the video ends. But until next time we meet, thou doth have a great day. I didn't say that right. Have thyself a good day.